Hi everybody, welcome to this how to paint a street video. So let me show where I started. So we are going to paint this one. So be sure to use the sketch if you want to follow along. And here I started with making this selection of the canvas I'm going to paint on. So what I'm going to do now, I created this new layer and I put it in a folder, Ctrl G, and I put a mask with this selection of this block. I Ctrl click on this block, and then in this folder, I click this mask icon, and now I have a mask. So everything I'm going to paint inside this shape, it's going to have that, that's staying inside there. Next step is, so this is the sketch. I put the opacity a bit down of the sketch. And then I can start blocking in the main colors. And yeah, when you're using a sketch, it can be rough because finally you turn off the sketch, but you need to find out what you find, what you like to find. I always like to use quite detailed sketches. Maybe I want to change it a bit, but I want to first start talking a little bit about color. So here we have this color. That's basically the main color because it's of the sky, the atmosphere, and yeah, you see that the most. And then we have the road. So you can see it's not simply gray. There's a tint of this red purple in it. So, and then we have the clouds, that's this yellow. And then we have these buildings, so this green, yellow, and this, this dirty green, basically, in this darker green. But what I tried to do with these colors is to keeping them all quite together. It's not that this color has really bright saturation or it will stand out too much. You could do that to let something out, pop up, let something pop out more. So if you want to have something that's really important for the story, you can use a color that pops out a lot. Basically, let's start painting. So first, let's make a background color for the sky, and later we're going to add gradients and stuff. So a lot of times I used palettes like this when I'm starting out. So here I can make this road. I'm using a simple rough brush, so you can see it how this brush looks. So it's a brush like this. Here, and we can add these parts, these buildings. So start with all these big shapes. And you can also do this with all kinds of brushes. A lot of times I actually paint with just round brushes. And it's really useful to try to find out what you like the most. I just started using these kinds of brushes to get this more rough effect. If you see at this drawing, you can see I used a regular brush actually to do that, but now I have this. No, just starting with this brush now. I think in the end you can use anything. So here, so the light, so this is the shadow side and this is the lighter side. The light is coming from the top right corner. So although I'm just starting to block in the main shapes, I also already add some light sides. And I put all these things on separate layers. Maybe I merge it later together, but I start blocking in it in like this. And when you're trying to find a new color composition, that's also how I find these colors here. Started with this background colors, and then I just try out different colors. And if there's a color I don't like, you can always change it. And how I do that in Photoshop is by here, clicking Ctrl U, and then here you can change these colors, and you can try to find something you find fit. So I like this this color here, this side, and just roughly block in these colors. That's that's basically it at this this stage. Just using the sketch. Some people even don't like to use sketches, but they like to paint in straight shapes. But that is, yeah, just yeah, that depends all on how you like to work. So here, let's adding this, and we can start adding some buildings in the distance. So here these have these grayish tones, and that's also because it's in the distance, like this here. So when you go outside and you look at buildings in a distance, they often look lighter, and they, yeah, starting to almost disappear in the sky, right? So this, and then we can start adding in the clouds, just with a rough shape. And it doesn't need to be perfect at this stage. Just the main goal is to yeah, get the sketch blocked in. And later we're going to add details, maybe change some of these shapes if necessary. So here. And now let's add these trees here. Like this. Yeah, it's a bit darker color. Maybe it's a little bit too dark, but I thought it was working fine. So here. This here. Try to keep it all really simple. Here, these drawings are kind of rough, and that's I also like it. So now we've done this, and we can go to the next step. Take this one, put it here for now. You can use it as a reference. What we're going to do. I like to turn on the sketch. So sometimes I turn on and off the sketch to look if it's if I like where it's going. But yeah, now I have it on. To select the layers, I control and click on the layer I want to select. But you can also press, when you press V, you have this auto select. You can also put that, then you don't have to press control to select the layers, but I like to use it like this. So what I'm going to use is here this icon, and now can paint. So when I'm painting now, painting over it, but when I select this envelope layer, you also have that in Procreate, for example. So you can draw within that shape. So here, adding some shadows. So you can also use this one. It's transfer. So I want to have these ones a little bit darker, so it changes. Oh, let's put this transfer off. So here this is the saturation and the brightness. And you can use that to make things darker. I think it's a little bit too dark. Yeah, this works. This here, and we can start. I think we can start adding in some details. I have a different brush I can use. Maybe this one. This one? Yeah, I think this one works. I can use this one to make these sides. Here, get this light to dark bit. Maybe a little bit too texturish. Would this one work? No, not. I think I'm just going to use this one. Transfer off. So leave it now for like this, or maybe just using. Yeah, just let's use for the shadows this brush, because now I can make this light this a little bit darker, and I can control it with the pressure sensitive of my my pen. Here. Make this a little bit darker. Well, a little bit darker, because remember where the light is coming from. It's from the top right, coming from the top right corner. This side a little bit darker. And here maybe take this color. It's a little bit too much, paint over it. This and this enough. You can always change it. Just a little bit. So here we have now this one, and let's take this brush again. I think here we're using a lighter color. And let's add here some light. Like this, just paint it in. So here you can see I used a different green. So also when you can here change these colors a little bit with the hue, and then you can add some ferrite. Let's make it a bit lighter. And here some light from the sun. And here this light. And check if it works. Determine if it works or not. So now we can start drawing on top of it and adding some more details. So like here we have this piece here. So we can just block this in. And why I choose this color is because it has this nice darker for this edge here. So just putting that on one layer. So like this here. Also on the same layer, put this piece here. Because it's not a problem because they are separated from each other. So sometimes it's easier to work on one layer. Yeah, let's have these things here. For this drawing, I really wanted to keep it simple. Sometimes I work way more precise and render everything really out, but I wanted to have this rough look for this one also, because sometimes that's quicker. So here, painting in these windows. This one. And now another one. And adding some shadow here. Already starting to add some details, but yeah, not too much, just a little bit. So now we have this, and we can add here. Do we have this this chimney? This here, and let's see, and just yeah, slowly keep adding stuff, arranging the layers. And you can see I don't name my layers. Also because yeah, nobody else going to work in this file, so that's no problem. I'm trying to group them a little bit with that, yeah, the important buildings stay with each other, etc. Find this color a bit too dark, so let's make it a little bit lighter. What I would recommend is to maybe you can follow this drawing and you can use the colors I used here, but it's also good to train your eye and figure out what's the UE, what's the saturation, what's the brightness. Try to learn how to see that. So for example, here with this one, so if I change this, so I want to pick this color, I think it's a bit red, less saturation, and it's this grayish. Yeah, and then we can use this color. So so it could be a good practice to try to find those colors using the here this HSB setting, and you can change these things here. And almost all programs have AHB because UE and or U and saturation and brightness are often used. So here, let's add this here. Then here, let's right away paint some shadow. Let's add a little bit of saturation. Let's move the U a little bit. And here, I do think I made it a little bit too dark. Can actually maybe fix it quite easy. I Control U, then make it a little bit lighter. Yeah, I think that works better. Let's add these things here. And see, didn't do something at the windows. So here, these things here. And sometimes when you don't think the colors work, you can leave it like that. But I think what also helps, if I add some shadow, I think I can add the shadow here to this wall, like this here. And the shadows also here beneath these ones, like this. Let's add some shadow to these things. Great. And the fruit, some shadow. Later I'm going to painting the fruit or vegetables. Paint in the rest. Let's just paint on top of this building. Like this here. And like this. And this here. So have it a little bit lighter. Something like this. And let's add the window. I actually think I made this way too blue, so I want to make it a little bit lighter and grayer. Or not lighter, but less saturation. Something like this. Yeah, works fine. And can you see that I'm not zooming in too much? When you zoom in too much, you get focused too much on the details. And maybe that's good if you want to make a really detailed drawing. It's going to be used in for 3D artists. Sometimes that's needed. With lots of time, you can just work zoomed out, not too much in, and it's also quicker. And because then maybe you're going to focus too much on details, nobody is going to see. So here. This here. And then we can start adding in windows. Let's bluish. Saturation. Let's try it out. Good to work with. Yeah, this works better. So I don't want too much contrast here for these colors. So here. And so in these windows. And here I want to have a little bit lighter. So painting it in like this. And also here. And here. So you can see this is, yeah, pretty straightforward. Maybe the toughest part is to picking the colors. That's also something you can train with. What I try to do is you can basically pick any color, but the saturation and brightness is really important. That the colors don't stick out too much. Merge these two layers. So sometimes I use a lot of layers, and sometimes I merge them to keep it not too much. And here I'm drawing on top of this layer now. It's not that big of a deal if you're not doing that. So here in these shadows. And here on this door, let's add here this Here. This building one being left. Here, maybe let's take this color. Actually, a little bit different than in the original. They're all working quite well, except this one is too bright. So I can turn the brightness and saturation a bit down. Yeah, it works better. And let's move on to the next building. These windows, yeah, take just this color, see if that works. Maybe I want to have it a little bit lighter. Just a little bit. Then you get also this nice contrast. Here's more contrast than these buildings, but that building is also closer to the viewer. So here, I think this here, and then on top of that, let's add this thing. Let's add the shadow of these. Yeah. This. And then add here these areas. And let's get to this building. Not actually that much to talk about. You can see I'm just taking small steps. You could follow along. Maybe making this lighter. I also would recommend this here. I also will give you these other sketches, and yeah, you can basically follow these steps. Make this tree, some shadow, making the brush a little bit smaller. This shadow side. And I think we can start adding that car in the front. Let's put it car really to the front. It's funny because in the sketch I put the windshield here, so the car was looking at us, but now it's away from us. So I changed that here. Back side. Tires. Maybe changing this again. So this is a little bit different from the sketch actually. This window here, and maybe a shadow beneath the car. Like this. To show some tire there. Yeah, better. So now we have this. Can start doing the clouds. So the clouds also have a side where shadow is coming. So let's just first add this. And then maybe with a regular brush, let's bit lighter. And maybe give it here a little bit of color. It's not even pink, but it starts to look a little bit pinkish there. So just like this. And I want to make the bottom sides a little bit darker. So you're going to fix that later. Then we have the sky. And let's take this block off. Again. Darker sides. Here, maybe here. A bit of textures. Taking this brush again. So I would recommend to play around with different things. What kind of effect it does it have? I use that brush to give it a little bit of texture. This here, maybe make this part a little bit lighter. Like this. And then we can move on. Now we're starting to get a lot of layers, but we can start also merging layers down. So here with this car, already everything is on one layer. Really necessary. So here on this car, let's add some light here, because let's say it's in the morning, then you always get this here, these edges here. And let's do this here. Maybe a dark line here for the door. And you can just start drawing on top of that. Maybe here add some extra light. Make it lighter. Like this. Some light here. And move on to the next layer. We can merge the shadow. We could add some, maybe some extra lines. A little bit of extra texture. Didn't do that there, but maybe here from number plate or something. And let's go to here, the stoplights. Also, let's add some highlights here. Turn this off. And let's add some lights here. And here, and maybe here on the top. That's here, and maybe here, and we can now start adding red. And green below. And a bit lighter. Darker for shadow here. Here is red, make it part darker, etc. So maybe that's funny because here we have this pattern. So what I did is make these selections like this. Then Control U and make that light. Then we've added that pattern there. Let's draw in the windows here. just add here these kinds of details, throw them in. Top of that layer. And here, these lines. Trying to find something playful. Not going for super realistic. Want to, yeah, make it all fun. Some light here. So like this. And let's add some cells here. Let's take this color. Dark here. Let's add some light here. Be on the edge. Make this a little bit lighter. This on the top there. Let's add some shadow here. This top side. And actually draw not on everything on the top, so I need to make a new layer. So at one point, what you could do is, yeah, you could actually just merge these layers. This to keep it much simpler to work on. Don't feel on and back to merge things together, especially when painting, especially when it's okay to be a little bit rough. I try to be super polished. I try to keep a lot of layers so I can easily change stuff. But here you can just painting on top of it. And I think you also need to find out a little bit yourself if you want to really create super cleaned up paintings or want to be keep it everything a little bit rough. Light here. Let's make these things. Changing this hue a little bit. Some light here. And colors here. Could also use different colors. Maybe some shadows here and there. Maybe add some extra line here. Show its dark grades like this. So in this stage really takes the most time also, and it's funny because this is the last 20% of the drawing, but can take something 80% of the time. Sometimes turn off the sketch to see how it's starting to look. So let's now go to this road. And let's start adding in some little highlights. Just like this, these spots. It's darker. So here. Try to find some nice spots. So here's something that works. And then, yeah, basically move on to the next thing. And you can always come back to this, right? Take your time for this. Merge this together. It's a little bit lighter here. Let's add some dark sides here. And here's some bricks. It's a little bit too much. I'm gonna take this brush, transfer, and just erase them a little bit. Like this, so you can barely see it. And let's do the same that with this building. Make it barely visible. So here I'm just using this round brush, and it works actually fine. I always like to use just round brushes, basic brushes, because that's, yeah, they're more easy to control and to change if you want. Yeah, and some light. Like this here. And as you can see, yeah, adding all these details is just a matter of yeah, taking your time. Yeah, let's merge all this together. Taking your time to paint this. And, yeah, relax, have fun with it. And it takes a lot of time to paint something, even when something is rough like this. So you really need to like it. So here, and this here, and on top of that. This, then take yellow for this here. So you can also see what I'm doing a lot is taking these colors and then using them somewhere else. Like here, this color I use for the bricks here. Just adding it here. Taking this color, or maybe take this color and then press really softly, and then you get this color here for this brick here. Press softly so you get even lighter brick. Draw that in there. And let's move on to the next building. It's all together. So let's merge this, just it's quicker. Light here, here. And let's add some window frames. A bit lighter than the other buildings because this building is a little bit farther away. Like this. Just a little bit lighter. This edge here. Like this. Maybe merge these layers together and add some. So you can see I'm merging them together again. And add some light top of this edge. Also here. Like this here. And like this here. Some light here. Maybe I don't really like this, so let's change this color a little bit to this here. Apply to these car wheels here. Let's go to this green and let's start adding some yellow. So what I also sometimes do when I almost finished, make a new layer and put this layer on overlay. Take this block rough brush, this yellowish color. Use it to draw on top. Maybe change a little bit. Okay, like this here. Then you can start painting that in. Here, this effect. Maybe you can even use it for some places here. Maybe even here. It's too much, so maybe erase them a little bit. This here. On these lines, erasing them a little bit. See if that works. Maybe turn off the sketch to see if you like it. Yeah, and then you can also see if it holds up without that. So now we can also start adding in maybe some sun rays. Maybe just draw in some lines. Like this here. Don't paste it down. Maybe put this on overlay. Like that. Take an eraser. Take a soft eraser. A little bit like this here. Maybe just a little bit too rough, so maybe erase these edges a little bit. Something a little bit too much. Maybe we can draw in some birds now. Now you can add the finishing touches, like these birds here. And maybe add some light there. So first draw the shape, and then basically add the details on top of that. So that's how I basically paint all these different drawings. And here for these ones, I took a little bit more time. So feel free to do that. So you can use these sketches to try this out. Maybe you can first practice it by following this video along and paint this one. And maybe after that you can start painting these ones. Or maybe you want to make them in a night time or something, and play around with that. So yeah, that was this video, and in the next video I'm going to talk more about how to draw in all these super sharp details and more. But that's it for this video. Thanks.